So it's just a celebration episode.
It's a celebration, bitches.
Love it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Angel and Tony Show. This is a very special episode for a multitude of reasons. It's been a while. We've been busy getting to this money and making everybody mad. And
That's good.
Yeah. And now we're back right on time. This is the 1 year anniversary of us doing this show. We started doing this like pretty much exactly a year ago. It just also happens to be the 10-year anniversary of Angel moving to Los Angeles. So let's get a round of applause for that. And to celebrate that, we brought our friend Rob here, who came here with Angel. He was her like original roommate. He made the drive out to LA with her. So this is like a really epic moment in time right now. And I'm kind of shocked that you're just now like getting on the show.
Yeah, right?
Crazy.
Yep.
But that's because this guy is busy getting to the money too.
Yeah.
Making me mad. So I was going to start it off with, how did you guys meet in the first place?
Whoa!
Production
2,
Yeah.
Columbia College, Chicago. Shout out Shayna Connolly. Hopefully you still watch this show. Yeah. But yeah, actually we met in Production 2 and I was late the first day of class. And there was nowhere to sit besides an open seat next to you.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And then I was just like, oh, well, looks like I'm sitting here. What else do you remember from it?
I remember us sitting off the first day. We just started talking, and then shortly after, we got grouped up and started making our shorts together.
We got grouped up because we sat next to each other.
So then what was the progress of like that made you guys keep working together in school? Because I actually met you pretty much at the same time that I met her on like one of those films.
Yeah.
So, but then I never really like saw you ever again after that. But what was like the progress of that? Because you guys had a production thing together, but was that here or was that in Chicago? Or was that once you guys got here?
That started Chicago.
Yeah, it started in Chicago. I mean, we hit it off pretty like almost immediately. Yeah. And it was because we were literally making the same films, just like separate. And then when we did get grouped together, we just really like vibed off of each other as far as what we wanted to say and like our styles and stuff. And we just kept working together. We were like addicted to it. I want to say
every weekend.
Every weekend we were always working on the film all the time. And then I think it really progressed. I want to say when we got into like independent projects and documentary.
Oh yeah. Was that the first year? Or is that next year?
No, I think it was the next year.
Next year, yeah.
Well, when did we go to New York? That was our last year.
That was the last year, yeah. So it was the year after. Okay.
When you finally decided to go to LA, like when you were like, let's move to LA, where did that decision come from? Like what made you guys decide to do that?
A random phone call. We were debating what to do. It was that summer, right after school, and we were debating what to do. And we were like tinkering with the idea of moving out, but didn't have like a full plan, and it sounded crazy.
I guess for me, and you can jump in if you felt the same way, it was I was working with an ad agency in Chicago, and they were handling like Coldwell Banker commercials. I got a job and it was decent money, and all I was doing was editing this Coldwell Banker commercials, and like I hated it. I cannot stress enough how much I hated it. I was like, cool, I'm getting paid for what I
went to school
for, but this is so boring. And so I was like, you were at that time is that when you started working with True TV?
Yeah, I was doing Speeders Fight Back. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You were doing what?
Speeders Fight Back.
What is that?
It was there was that True TV Speeders show, but this time they pull you over and take you to court. So yeah.
Oh,
like
was
a little twist to it, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
So you were both doing some really exciting
great stuff.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that you were doing sound on that, right?
Assistant camera on that one. But mainly doing sound outside.
So this is so crazy. So a fun fact about Rob is he's an editor, but what I know him for, like at school, he was mostly doing sound.
Switch it up.
a good switch, but yeah, and then it was just random. It was never. I think we both were just like, let's move to LA?
Yeah, I remember the phone call because we were talking to each other on the phone like, all right, let's just pick a date and do it. And we looked on the calendar and just we're going through October because it was the summer. We're like, all right, let's plan a little bit, save a little bit of money, and then let's just do it. And that was it. Like after that phone call, we were serious and we stuck to that date.
And the magic number we said was 2,000. We were
money?
Like, yeah. We're like, get to $2,000 before we move.
So you said that you didn't really have like a plan or you didn't have much of a plan. But what were your like ambitions? Like when you were driving, because you guys both drove separately out here. You got all the stuff you own.
We had
in the car.
walkie-talkie.
And you got walkie-talkies like Fast and Furious style. And you're driving from Chicago to LA. What was going through your head as far as like what was going to happen? Like what was your goal or your ambition like to do when you got here?
I think just from what I've heard was mainly just like find an internship, because what I heard like in Chicago is like once you get out there, get an internship and hopefully get a job. So like that was my main goal, is like trying to find an internship for like work, but also get an internship to like get in there, which doesn't actually work, but but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think mine was, I always wanted to like run my own shit. Like I always wanted to run my own business, and I think like that was a big part of why I came out to LA. If you're asking me, did I have some sort of plan or what I thought was going to happen?
Yeah, like 23-year-old Angel, like.
I was like, okay, because he was my closest influence at that time. So me and him were just like literally 20, 30 plus
constant applying.
Like applications every single day. And we would have to actually go to the corner bakery because we couldn't afford internet. So we were going there just like applying and applying and applying. And then when I finally got my internship, I got an internship at this film distribution company. Basically scheduling people to meet with the director at American Film Market. At AFM. Is that what it's called? Okay. And I did that for like 3 months, I think it was for, and I hated it. It's like, and simultaneously, he was working a lot in so many different.
Yeah, I got
he was like at a record company.
Yeah.
You were at a
Vagrant, and then Ambush, and then what was the other one? Seventh Art. There was one more. But yeah, it was like 4 internships when I came out before I got a full-time job.
And what kind of stuff were you doing?
Busy work at that one. I was like, hey, let's give this to the interns to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So what other stuff are you doing at that point? Because you right now are in a dope-ass spot. You've been in a dope-ass spot for a while. And it's like one of those, to me, looking at it from the outside, you got like the ultimate success story of like coming to LA to be like, came out here with nothing and now you like work on major motion pictures and you're not even that old, you know what I mean? So what were you doing at that time in the beginning that kind of was what opened the door?
Well, actually, going back to internships, one of them did help because I was at Lionsgate that first time. So when I kept applying to full times while I was interning, they saw it like on my interview when I was talking to them when I went to HTV. They were like, oh, we see Lionsgate, like that's one of our clients, this and that. So maybe that helped a little. I don't know. But ever since then, it was kind of just like job after job once I got that first one. So,
yeah, I remember that.
As a side story that I think is an amusing anecdote, can you tell me about your first apartment that you guys got when you got here?
Oh yeah, that was a great story. Yeah. Well, shout out to my aunt and uncle who put us up in Manhattan Beach off of their points at the Marriott, but they didn't know like the distance at all, so they put us up in the South Bay area in Manhattan Beach. And we didn't know like how far that actually is, like in comparison to where we are right now. So we were like, let's just look for places. So it only took us like 3 days.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
We looked at 3 apartments: Glendale, Silver Lake,
Silver Lake,
and Studio City. As soon as we went to the Studio City one, it was a wrap. We were like, this is the one. I remember
that Silver Lake one before then. We were like, the hill was like this. We're like, I don't know about that.
Literally, we were in Silver Lake, and the hill was like this, and they said that you had to like, there's only one spot, one had to park on the street. We were like, no.
I don't think so.
Hiking straight up 90 degrees.
Yeah, so I feel like this is something that people don't realize, like when you're younger, you barely have any credit. So like legit, we're trying to get an apartment. And like both of us are like fresh out of college, zero credit, can't get a credit card to save our lives. I mean, we tried really hard at the beginning to get credit cards, even just store credit cards. Macy's denied us both at once. Like, remember that?
I do.
So we actually had to have our parents co-sign our first place with us. Because they wouldn't approve us by ourselves. Yeah. So what's interesting is, like, remember the $2,000 that we said that we would save up? Once we signed that apartment, it was pretty much gone. It was pretty much gone. Yeah. And we lived in a 1-bedroom, the both of us. So he took the bedroom and I took the living room.
And so how much furniture did you have?
So much.
Are you kidding?
We were swimming in furniture.
We got crafty though.
Oh, we did.
We both start on air mattresses.
Yeah.
And then I bought one of those like $7 like IKEA coffee tables. That's what I like did my work on. I sat on my air mattress. I ate my food on that. I was on my laptop on that. And then we got shower rods to basically create a wall for my room.
Yeah. Just to hit another like pivotal moment for you. Tell me about this like police raid.
No!
Like Christina into this narrative.
Rob, what was that timeline?
That was when Josh came.
Yeah, that was the night Josh came.
Yeah, and I was at 7th Art that day.
So when was that? November?
That was it was in late November.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, and then I remember at work because I had my phone on silent and I looked at it and I had like missed 20-something calls from me. I was like, oh shit. And then
so story time. Yeah. At this moment, I feel like I was already kind of in talks with my first like Chicago employer, and I believe I was like working from home. It's like early afternoon. I'm in my pajamas and I'm on my little air mattress, and all I hear is boom, 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 boom. Open up, FBI or something. I don't think it was FBI. It was like open up.
LAPD.
It was like LAPD or something.
Yeah. You know, I watched too many shows. I want to say it was the FBI, but it wasn't. But it felt like it. And I opened up the door, and there was a guy that in full SWAT gear with a gun, and he's like, and then there's like another person pointing his gun this way, and another person pointing his gun that way. They're like, ma'am, we have a situation happening in your apartment. We need to evacuate you. You have 2 minutes to gather your belongings. I was like, what?
Luckily, you didn't have that much furniture.
I didn't have anything. I literally grabbed like my birth certificate, my social security card, all like my money, like my debit card, and my laptop, and just went in there, and they like huddled me out SWAT style, like literally like the guy like grabbed me and like then ran me to this other guy who then he grabbed me, ran me to the stairwell, then they like walked me down to the car, like a garage, and then they're like, okay, well, they'll let you know when you can come back. I was like, okay, so that's it. So then I got in the car, Rob is gone, I don't know anybody. So the only other person I know is Christina. So I was blowing him up, blowing Christina up, and then I just drove to a Walgreens parking lot, and I was like, okay.
Welcome to LA.
Welcome to LA.
I remember meeting you there because once I called you and you said it, I was like, oh, I gotta go.
Yeah. I was like,
just left.
There's guns and
I was
helicopters.
So confused, like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Did they ever explain what was going on in that?
Yeah. So
we heard like 3 different stories, but.
So what we heard was that a guy who lived next door to us, literally right next door to us, I guess he went crazy and went on Facebook and was saying that he was gonna like kill his mom and just like blow up his room or something like that. Our manager at our building didn't call us until like 6 a.m. the following day. So I actually stayed at Christina's. After work, she met me at the Taco Bell by the Walgreens. We ate there, and then like we went back to her house. And at that time, we weren't really like close friends, so I was just like
awkward.
Really awkward. Can I stay with you? I don't really know you.
And then I remember when we went back, that door just had like bullet holes in it.
Oh, right.
I was like,
the other guy's door?
Yeah, the door that they. I don't know like if it was from him or from the.
There were like 3 bullet holes. Yeah. And they definitely kicked that bitch in. Like, for sure.
Yeah. That was a nice introduction to Los Angeles. But at that time, you guys were working, like, because you were in Chicago, And you were both working at Ruby Hornet around the same time, right?
Yeah.
I had just gotten hired, like late November-ish, but I wasn't starting yet because I still needed to train. So at that time, I feel like I was just kind of going, like, shadowing this other girl that was working there via email and, like, just being CC'd on a lot of things.
So what was that first year like, you know, for as far as just day-to-day surviving, like, making money? Did you make any money?
A lot of Stofers. Freezer stocked with Stofers at McDonald's.
Yes, it was freezer stocked.
Very
with
frugal year.
So many Stofers. Like, I mean, we joke about it all the time, but we were so poor.
Oh, very poor.
We were so poor. And,
yeah.
I remember my family had sent us, like, canned tuna and canned Spam and lots of ramen noodles. So we ate that.
Mm-hmm.
We had some ramen.
Oh, yeah, lots of ramen. Yeah.
But we were excited when we could go to McDonald's and order a number. It was like a thing, right? We were like, we're just going to splurge tonight. We're going to go to McDonald's, goddammit. You better give me that one.
With the fries and a drink.
That first year was tough.
Yeah.
That first year was...
It was a lot of not
really
doing much.
tough for us.
We were trying to remember, like, what was our first year like? Hanging out at home? Like, I don't...
So it was like at least we
went out sometimes, but not... It was like a friend's party or something.
Yeah, we'd go to like a lot because we didn't have any money.
Yeah. So I remember go to a lot of friends' parties.
Yeah,
so there's free food
there.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely lived that life before.
We literally watched a lot of movies. We like kind of like explored.
Oh
yeah, we went to that video store down the street a lot. And we watched really bad gay movies. Like we were like, let's watch this one. This one's awful. This one's also awful.
At the end of that first year, you move out.
We both did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were kind of like the catalyst to that because Josh came here and then it was this is a wrap. Did you move to where you're at now?
Yeah, that's where we've been.
You've been in the same place.
Yeah. Been for a while.
For you, what did you feel like in that in that scenario? Were you like, life?
Kind of, but I knew Rob was never gonna like let me. Like he offered, he was like, "Hey, do you want to live with us?" And I was like, "I can't do that. That's like I can't do that." But so I never felt like I was gonna be asked out because he never made me feel like I was gonna be asked out. Like I just didn't want to intrude. You know, it was like his boyfriend was coming into town. Like they want to live together. Cool. But I was like, oh gosh, what do I do now? You know? But then, like, luckily, and by fate, you know, like, that's when me and Christina became really, really close that year. She was moving out of her situation with her other friend from Midlow, and they were going to look for a 2-bedroom. So I was like, you guys want to look for a 3-bedroom? Felt like an orphan child. Like, someone take me in, please. But yeah, and then they took me in, and that's when we moved to across Ventura from where our first place.
Yeah. Has your situation gotten better, like, financially, or was it?
No, not at all. You know, it's crazy because the job that I was doing was not really what I went to school for. Like, we were technically coworkers because if I worked on the Ruby Hornet side, which is like an urban blog, and they covered like music, hip hop, that type of thing. But that wasn't what I really was doing. Like I would help out in that space, but really I was concentrated on like a lot of like domain management, a lot of online like SEO, SEM, like search engine type things. I had no fucking idea what I was doing, to be honest. Like I was thrown into that space and just had to just either sink or swim. And so I learned this whole new industry during that time, but I'm thankful for it, but I was broke. I didn't get paid really anything. And I was working kind of double because we were working with a team in India, so I'd work with like the team in America at a time frame, and then I would at nighttime here.
Yeah, you like never slept.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah, I was just not sleeping, and I was broke, and I was watching everyone around me moving. It's different when you guys all move here, you guys are all starting, everybody's getting there, and then but if you are that person who starts to see everybody just kind of go
progressing,
and you're just like la 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 la, I mean, like it wears you down. It gets to you.
Did you ever have like any like moments at that time where you were like, this was a bad idea?
Oh Yes! So many times. I mean, I definitely had a lot of very lonely, depressing, before I even knew what that was or understood it for myself, times. I was like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah, the first couple of years were rough, yeah.
It was the second year was what bothered me the most, I feel like. The first year was tough, but I feel like because it was year one, there's still that, like...
Yeah,
excitement, you know?
Yeah.
But then the second year, like I said, was when you start to see other people kind of progressing in that sense, like what am I doing? And am I doing the correct thing? Because I was working for a company that it wasn't what I went to school for. It wasn't film. It wasn't, it wasn't anything like that. But I needed to trust in that journey. I'm definitely like a true believer of just trusting in the process. And that's what I kept on trying to tell myself. And so I just remember my godparents out in DC. This is when we came up with the Art Room Collective. And after that idea came, that kind of like pushed me to stay here, because previously my aunt and uncle were like, we'll like pay for you to live in DC if you want to come out to the DC world and like do like broadcasting, because I did study that in my other college, so I had like broadcasting experience, But I took ARC as like a sign to just stay there, and because I had the experience at my job with like websites and stuff, that allowed me to help build what we were trying to do at that moment. But yeah, if you're asking me like how many times I felt like quitting, it's like too many times for me to count.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Did you ever have that? Because it seems like...
No, it was... I mean, the first few years, definitely. It's like, should I move back? Should I stay here?
I think we both did.
It's just... I don't know how many conversations we had about that,
And it always happened at IHOP. Like, we would go...
Yeah, seriously.
We would go to IHOP, like, on the weekends a lot, and we would just be like... I know. How are you doing?
So, like, for you were in the industry the whole time, right? So, like, what was the thing that made you be like, I'm, not doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
Pay usually sucks when you're starting out, and it takes a while to keep, like, getting up there to where it's, you're not constantly worrying about money and shit like that. So just like that whole process of kind of like getting out of where I was to moving up, like that was definitely a struggle. And you're constantly thinking like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Like making this much, and yeah.
Does it ever feel like, when am I gonna move up, or like does it ever seem like kind of dead endish, like this is never gonna like result to anything?
Yeah. It took a while to get out of that mentality, like
that was always my fear of like going that route, was just like I was afraid of getting stuck somewhere and like not being able to get out of that part of the machine, you know what I'm saying, and like being trapped, and I was like deathly afraid of that, so I was like, I'm not even going over there because I'm gonna lose my shit. You know what I mean? I admire your bravery.
Well, yeah, it depends.
100%. I mean, I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said. Like, I told Rob this. Like, I totally like admire his tenacity and working up the ladder in the business. In the business, I hate myself for saying that, but it is. It's the business because it's hard. It's hard to break in that way, and to continuously go and like get to the point to where you're at is like, I couldn't do it. One, because I feel the same way as you, like, and I can't, like, working my way up the ladder is not something I ever, like, wanted to do. Like, it wasn't for me. I just couldn't see myself, especially in the route that I wanted to go. You know what I mean? Like, for you, it's like editing was something that you, like, wanted to do and you were passionate about, so you took that course. But for me, a lot of my influences at school who were teaching me producing and stuff, like, some of them were telling me they were production assistants for, like, years. And, like, that was something I just didn't see myself doing.
Right.
I always felt like I wanted to create a place for me in this world, but I didn't necessarily wanted to follow someone else's trail either.
When did you decide like what your next step was then from where you're at?
When you got laid off.
When I got laid off.
Well, that was where I was going next. I was going to ask that, so that's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, the company that Tony and I worked for laid everybody off. And mind you, like, we weren't making any money, so it's not like we saved any money for any type of cushion for us either. So we're just like floating around in the ether, just like, ugh. Except he was in Chicago and like I was out here, and I had no money. they laid me off, and I was like, what am I gonna do? So I'm either gonna sink or swim.
Yeah.
And because of the skills that I learned at my previous job, I created my site. I made angelarizona.com. I threw up all of the things that I did at my job, and I started just like hustling. I was doing websites for $50, $100. I was doing like logo designs for people for like $50. I was doing anything that I could do for money. I was doing it that had to do with that. Like, oh, you needed me to make you a flyer? No problem. $25. Oh, you need me to take photos? Cool. I'll take photos for your thing. $50. And that's what I kept on doing. Mm-hmm. And, fortunately, because of my living situation, my rent wasn't that high. It was like $500-$600. I can't really remember. So those little $50 jobs, $100 jobs, it was good for me.
Right.
I didn't have a car payment. I still had my 2000 Toyota Camry.
Ow!
So I didn't have my overhead wasn't big at all. So I did anything that I could do to survive. And then I also started doing a lot of like music videos as well, just like helping like for free, whatever they needed. And that was when I met Patricio and AJ. Yeah. And it was through them that I met this other guy, Joel, which I need to rewind really quick because all this stuff happened because my godfather was on a plane with this author of this book called Filipinos in Hollywood. He started talking to her. He's like, oh, my niece is going out to LA. And then she's like, oh, she should contact me. And that's kind of how it happened. She had a list of names, and it was like I went down the list and just called everybody on there. It was like whoever would take coffee with me, And that's how I got the music videos. And then when I got those music videos, that's how I met Joel, who then introduced me to the Emmys, which became a long-standing like freelance gig for me. That's how I got into the Emmys. So while I was doing all this other freelance stuff, I started working with the Academy, doing like digital posts, like they on their like digital magazine side, just doing tags on videos, or helping assist on their like nights that they had at the Academy, like whether it's being second camera or just being a PA or helping with like ingestion of footage. And then I still work with the Academy to this day.
The game all changed when you started at Keys.
Yes.
From a similar situation.
Like
so
100%.
Tell me like where you were like just in life at that point and how that happened, I guess.
I wasn't like worried, but I wasn't secure either.
Right.
I wasn't like safe. So Christina, who's literally been like an angel in this whole process of LA, her cousin's best friend's husband, was looking for somebody part-time to do social media at a dealership. Basically, they were like, if you guys know anybody, pass it on. So then Christina had passed it on to me. And it wasn't nothing. It was just like, hey, if you're interested in this, like, here's this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, of course I'm interested. And so I had, it was just a text message. Then I met up with Darren, and he's like, okay, I like you. Now go meet with Ramin. And then I did like this whole presentation. I had like a PowerPoint of everything to do. And I thought that this was just going to be like a part-time thing that'll supplement my income that I'm already doing. But after the presentation, he offered me a full-time job. So he was like, I know it was part-time, but we like what you said. So here's a full-time job. We can't pay you the salary that we know you deserve. Mind you, I wasn't making anything. So like at my previous job either. So the salary that he offered me was double what I was making at my previous job. But I played it off. I'm like, yeah. But like inside, I'm like, yes, yes. And honestly, start like working with Keys changed my life. And I would have never, in a million trillion years, would ever say that I would be working with the cars or working in automotive, working in the car dealership space.
That was pretty much when I got here because I'm coming up on year 6 in January. I kind of know what happened after that, and it's like, to me, the rest is history, sort of. But I guess from my like standpoint of this, I just want to know from you guys, as somebody as people who've been here for 10 years who made it that long. Because when I first got here, everybody was like, if you can make it to 5 years, then you're good. A lot of people can't make it 5 years. So once I crossed the 5-year mark, I was like, I'm out here. I'm doing it big. Like, I'm
You
here
made
for life.
it.
I did it. And I think like 10, I guess, would probably be my next milestone, I think. Yeah. But what do you think has changed? And what do you think has stayed the same from, you know, your original self when you got here to who you are now?
I would say more confident now, I guess. Definitely like unsure of what to do and different paths to take back then, and more focused now. I guess that's maybe the big change.
And what do you think is the same?
My drive, I guess, to keep going, and yeah.
I thought you were talking about traffic.
I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, okay, you're driving.
2-hour drives every day. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you are somebody who I wouldn't say, I guess looked up to is kind of the word, but even just like, I think more so been baffled by your like work ethic is insane to me. Like,
unmatched, you guys.
Insane.
And we say these things like we think we're joking. No, I mean like
no, you guys work all the time.
I'll take it. I know. Yeah. I definitely do. I'm not taking anything away from what we do and stuff in my work ethic, but like this guy right here, he has worked until his eyes have crusted over.
Yeah, 32-hour shift one time. That was
32-hour shift. I saw it. Because you were out of town.
Mm-hmm.
You were doing an on-site job, right? And his eyes, I thought he was exaggerating. We were like texting back and forth, and he was like, I have not spent 32 hours. My eyes hurt. He comes back. His eyes were like crusted, like. Oh
yeah, I forgot about that.
I've never seen that
that
before.
Was bad. I forget.
And and
I was just thinking the bags. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember the bags for sure. But yeah, they crusted over.
Right, and a lot of people don't know. I mean, this guy, like a lot of the things he can't really even say what he works on and stuff. But he like works on like big shows and big movies and stuff, and he never even talks about it at all. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when you work in this type of business, it's a lot of hours, and it's a lot of like, you know, you work weekends all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's like, and that's something that I feel like is important for people to know that kind of want to get into the business and stuff, and let it, because you know,
definitely
a lot of people
not 9 to 5. Yeah.
A lot of people think it might be glamorous or something like that, but it's truly awesome.
It's really a time suck.
And you love what you do. I mean, hearing his stories and stuff have always been super enlightening, and seeing his name in the credits when we go into movies is freaking awesome. And I love like yelling. Like when we went and saw Rio, and it was like, it said Rob. I was like, woo! Woo! He's like one of the last credits. But
and then your name in Entertainment Tonight recently, that was awesome.
That was cool.
Yep.
For you, what do you think is the same, and what do you think has changed? Like really, like I want you to put yourself back, 23-year-old Angel, long hair, Lupe Fiasco bandana.
I mean, I came out of the closet.
So like,
shout out to IHOP.
Lots of things happened at IHOP.
Like if you saw her, like what would you see differently about you now, and what would you see like in her that is you now?
I think I'm 100% more confident in who I am, and like I'm proud of who I am. I think before I tried to hide who I was, and I was very like shy. Also feel like that girl was fearless but also very scared. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think my drive was always there, and I think it's just gotten stronger as the years have gone by. But I feel like I actually believe it. I think before I had to like fake the funk because I made that decision. I made the decision to come out here. What am I going to do? Cry about it in the corner? It's not going to get us anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think back then I was really, really terrified and scared. I just acted like I wasn't. A lot of my ambitions that I had back then, I feel like I actually believe now. But what has stayed the same, I think my passion for building, I think that's stayed the same for me.
What about you? I mean, you said it's 6 years, but I'm sure there's still a difference.
I actually made a video before I moved out here, and I posted it, and it was more to tell like everybody that I was leaving and what I was doing it for, but it was also as like a time capsule thing to be like, I want to look back at this, and like I'll occasionally watch it just and I think it's one of those things that I'll watch when I feel like LA is beating my ass, to go look back at that kid who I was sitting in the basement of my friend's house because I had moved out of my apartment December 1st, and then I was staying in my friend's house until I left, and I left like January 12th or something like that. Really like starting from nothing to come out here. It's cool to look at that kid and be like, man, like it was just, I hope it's gonna be like this, and I want to chase my dreams, and like I think I definitely have grown a lot from here, and I think I've been like weathered and like earned some stripes, but I feel like there's something different about 10 years that when I hit that mark, it'll be like, yeah. Because, I mean, 10 years doing anything is some gangster shit.
It's a whole decade.
Yeah.
So, I think just this being this age in general is dope because you're still relatively young, but you have, like, OG status because you have been doing something for that long. Even doing this for a year is like cool, and it's dope to look back at like what we even looked like on the first episode of it. It's only been a year, and I think I'm just right now getting started, to be honest. I think I spent a lot of time when I first got here like kind of dicking around because I didn't come out here struck with only $2,000, like, so I had time and like money, or at least I felt like I did, to just like experience LA and have like fun and do stupid shit. Yeah. And then I hit a brick wall and like tanked, and then like had to come back from that, and then tank again, and then come back from that. So it's like it's been very tumultuous, but I think I'm finally like in a zone, and I'm just like you guys, like looking forward to the future.
I think what I was gonna say before you asked that question was that I don't spend that much time looking back. Like I think it's important, but I don't spend too much time there because I'm always like planning for the next move and the next step. And so I think it's why I feel like Rob and I have been a little speechless, like jogging our memory back. Yeah. Is because we don't really do it that often. Like even when we visited our old place, we couldn't really remember a lot of stuff. And I think it's because this city just, it takes so much out of you that you really can't. I think it's important to look back and see how far you've come so that you can understand and appreciate, you know, your accomplishment. But you don't have time.
Nope. Very true.
You really don't have time to look back. I think it's important, like I said, so I'm glad that we're able to do this episode and stuff and sort of jog back, but it's also important to like not stay there. Because, you know, there's some people that are like, back then it was like this. It's like, I'm not living there.
Yeah.
It's like I'm living right now so I can build for, you know, tomorrow and stuff. My reason for wanting to even do this 10-year thing was just to show people that, you know all of us, that, like, it's possible to do this type of career and be successful in it.
And doing it in two different ways. Like,
yeah.
Because you guys did it. You came at the same time, started literally in the same place at the same time, and, like, both succeeded in two different, like, styles. You know, it is possible, you know, either way.
I think one of the most important lessons I learned is being a good person, having good intentions with how you move through this world. Honestly, just being a good person. Every single step that I've taken has been based off of the relationships that I've created, and I would have nothing without all those other people.
What would you say you've learned in this 10 years of LA?
I absolutely agree with that. I feel like having good intentions in what you're doing, not like screwing people over, like maintaining good relationships with everyone you work with. I definitely agree.
I know it's taken you too, because there's been people that I know that have brought you into certain places. I mean, same with me.
Yeah, because then like people remember like, hey, if they need a job or something, call, you know.
Right, and that's literally what happened. This is still to this day what's happening to me. I mean, I got like literally like 3 new clients because of somebody referred. That's what it is. So I feel like that's the most important lesson. And for somebody who was like shy, that was a weird thing. Yeah. So I think that was something that I had to grow into. And it all boils down to confidence and intentions. I keep saying that, but
it's true.
It's very, very true. There's a lot of people that we've met, especially in this city, especially in this business, and even people that we know that if your intentions don't align with what you're trying to do, it doesn't really work.
Since it's the 1 year of the show, what's something you guys learned?
What I've learned that is the biggest thing to me is that when you put out something that you like, something that you're passionate about, something that you care about, and you have the nuts to risk people not liking it or judging it or dissecting it or whatever, you would be surprised at how far you go. Because I spent a lot of my career making stuff just to make money and like doing things to survive, but not have to like sacrifice my integrity or not have to do something that had nothing to do with the degree I paid for. The second that I took the time that I thought I didn't have to put into something that I wanted, that we were making for us, so many other doors opened and we were able to like touch so many other people, and you realize like how many other people feel how you feel. And so I always would tell people, like, when they were sad or depressed or bored or whatever, I'd be like, do something that you want to do. And like, it's a hard thing for people to really actually do it. And even if they do it, it's even harder for them to like put it out because people are afraid of like success, I think, or they're afraid of failure at the same time. And it's like, to do this, like, that was what I learned. And to do something like repetitively and like make that block of time for yourself and your thing. And then, you know, every episode isn't like the some episodes people didn't like as much as others, and like not to take that personally and not to be like butthurt. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it is what it is. And then I learned like what works, like what touches people, like something that I think is dope, a lot of other people might not. And it's like, well, and then you make something else, and then people like, they love that thing, and it's the thing that you didn't expect people to care that much about, and then they like it, and you're like, oh, okay. So I think anybody who does like creative stuff should do something that they do a lot of it, like on a regular basis, because that's how you hone in on how to connect. Because I think that's a major part of being a creative or an artist, is like connecting. Because you can be dope and make cool shit, but if people are like, what the is this? Then it's like, what? Like, why are you doing it? Yeah. You know. So I think that's what I've learned, and that's the biggest thing I've learned from doing this.
How about you?
Oh, my turn. I think the biggest thing that I've learned with doing the show for a year has definitely got to be that if you want to do something, like, you'll figure out a way to do something, and that it's not an easy thing to do, but it's kind of, I guess it's like, how bad do you want something? Man, it's pretty much like Tony and I that are running this company that is our moneymaker, and that literally takes it's like full time plus. And so when we were like, let's do a show too, it is kind of stupid, like, if you think about it a little bit. Like, it's not really like the smartest of things to do, but this was something that we really needed. And it's like, if we're going to invest a lot of time in helping a lot of what the company does is help build other people up, build their companies up. But it's like, why wouldn't we, match that same energy for our own stuff? And that's what I mean. It's like, how bad do you want it then, though? Because at the end of the day, when we're working full time for the stuff that makes us money, are we willing to stay in certain nights or not do something on the weekend and film this?
And not sleep to edit it.
And not sleep to edit it for Tony. So I think the biggest lesson that I learned is, if you really want something, you'll make it happen. And if you don't, then you didn't really want it that bad.
Ooh. I think that's a phenomenal segue. This is going to be the last episode we do for a while.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to come back next year with a bunch of new content, a bunch of new material. We're going to flip it up, do some skits, different stuff like that. We got merch coming because Angel's about to be a fashion killer. We got some pieces in place to make stuff. We'll definitely be back, and when we come back, it's gonna be nasty.
Yeah, guys, thank you for everybody that's been rocking with us so far. We're really just kind of figuring this stuff out. I think this first season, I love that.
Seasons.
This first season has really just been a trial period for us, and seeing how receptive people have been to some of the topics that we've said has been awesome to see. And now we're just really excited to kick it to next gear and show you guys a little bit more of our creativity, because I think right now, like, with this show, it's more about how we feel about certain things. So we're excited to put on that filmmaking hat again and really create and take things to the next level and get our fashion game on. It's about to be fashion. Cannot leave without thanking Rob. He's been the Chico, he's been the brother for a while, and I really have appreciated him, and I don't think I would have made the jump to LA without you.
Same. Yeah.
There's no way that would have happened.
Oh,
so
my horn.
Likewise. Yep. Love you.
Look at that. Look at that.
But yeah, he's been an integral part, and he's an inspiration. And I think one of these days we'll have to tell more of his story, because I feel like we just kind of scratched the surface. There's a lot to cover. It's been 10 years, so you're definitely just scratching the surface right now. But I think that Rob has a lot more insight that he can share. But do you have anything that you would like to say to wrap up your 10-year thing? What if somebody's watching this right now that wants to make the jump and move to LA? What's your advice?
Well, one word of advice is prices have skyrocketed since we've been here in 10 years. So a place that was like $1,000 a month is now over $2,000. So save. But yeah, if you want it bad enough, you just got to move here, because a lot of opportunities you're not going to get unless you're in LA. You got to move here and then start trying to get a job. That was true for us, at least. Like, you just had to get here.
Facts.
True. But anyways, we'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll be back in the new year, stronger than ever, baby.
Flexing. I'm gonna do some push-ups.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yay, Rob.